Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Living the Sweet Life. I'm your host TJ Sweet, and on this podcast I'm going to talk to you about different ways that can help you live with intention, reshape your mindset, and look at the world through a grateful lens. So before I get started into this week's topic about how to focus more on systems and process instead of just the goals, we're going to talk about how focusing on those systems can actually help you accomplish those goals. But I want to, first of all, thank you for spending a few minutes with me today and with all the other listeners that tune in every week. And I just invite you to go ahead and hit subscribe, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on whatever podcast hosting platform you're listening to. Just know that I appreciate you and those reminders when you subscribe. Episodes come out every Monday. We like to call it Mindset Monday, and think about how can we start to win the week by winning the day. And starting to win Mondays is something I'm inspired by and want everybody to start having great weeks by winning the day. So first of all, let's talk more about goals and the power behind that. And so oftentimes, we are focused on, setting a goal for ourselves. And then, we don't necessarily spend as much time thinking about the process and the systems that we need to accomplish the goal. So putting it simply, what are the things you need to do every day to accomplish the goal that you have? But oftentimes we fall short of that and we just focus on setting a big goal that excites us. But we don't necessarily spend as much time, or should I say more time, focusing on what we need to be doing every day and why it matters. And then this belief that what we're doing actually matters. And so oftentimes when it comes to goals, people will tell you to set SMART goals, which are specific and measurable and achievable and relevant, and accomplishing them in a certain amount of time, which is not a bad way to set a goal. Okay, so I'm not suggesting don't have goals. I'm saying don't let your focus stop after you set the goal. And so really it's this idea of, is there a better way to actually accomplishing our goals instead of just setting the goal and then hoping it happens? Now, I know there's a lot between those two things, but really the journey that we go on, when we have the audacity and the courage and the vulnerability to set a goal, what we do next is really the best indicator of whether or not we're going to accomplish that goal. So if we sit back and hope versus if we actually start to get to work, those are two very different things. And so as you think about, systems and processes, it's kind of the behind the scenes things that actually make the progress happen. Right? They're built in daily rituals and in habits and in processes that, whenever you do them consistently, one, it makes you a new person. And two, it teaches you a lot about yourself, but it also delivers results. And so, the goals are very finite, right? It's either you accomplish them or you don't. Well, the thing about process is it really does provide more of a framework for continuous improvement in this idea of growth. And so it's not an all or nothing. And sometimes that alone gives people the courage and the inspiration to actually stick with their systems and goals. And so let's kind of first talk about some science behind why staying focused on the process and the systems really matters. And why that may be the best way for you to accomplish your goals. And so the first thing is really just this idea of the fallacy of goals. And so goals are inherently limiting. And so any goal we set right now is based on what we think is possible for us. Now, as we learn and grow and become somebody new, we often sometimes can get a new vision of what's possible, but we don't go back and readjust the goal. And so really the goals, like I said, are really just this: either you did it or you didn't. And there's no sense of measurement or progress kind of along the way, which is really what we need more than anything. And so, if you worked really, really hard and say you were trying to set a financial goal and you fell $1 short of that financial goal and it was a big goal for you, would you feel like a failure because you didn't accomplish your goal? Most people would. But what about all the things that you did and all the things that you had to focus on and commit to along the way? And think about how could you learn from those things, right? And so this idea of when you accomplish a goal, there's kind of this momentary satisfaction. But if you don't accomplish that goal, there's this slow creep of self-doubt and lack of self-confidence of what's possible for you if you just focus on, did you accomplish the big goal or not? And so really goals can kind of foster this scarcity mindset of which we've talked quite a bit about. And, success is really oftentimes when you're just focused on a goal, the success of kind of the goal that you have or the lifestyle change you're making, whatever it is often validated by external measures whenever you have just a goal. But if you have some progress and some systems that you have along the way, it cultivates this internal sense of fulfillment and this internal sense of validation that you don't necessarily need the goal anymore to feel proud of the work that you've accomplished. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the power of systems. And so really the systems, on the other hand, are kind of more of a dynamic and adaptable, fluid, if you will, part of the process of accomplishing and setting goals. And so they focus more on process than outcome, right? So there's a lot of outcome measures that we just focus on, but really it's the process measures along the way that actually help us get there. But it's really about emphasizing consistent action over temporary results. So I want to say that one more time. So the idea and the power of systems is more about emphasizing consistent action over temporary results. So if you go to the gym today, you won't feel any different. You won't look any different. You may be a little sore. But if you go to the gym every day, you will slowly see progress. But I know oftentimes, health and fitness is a big topic that most people set goals for, or a lot of people do. And whenever you have a goal of losing 10 pounds, if you've only lost 9 pounds, you still feel like a failure, but losing 9 pounds is still pretty good. And, I've talked to a lot of people with financial goals and, say they want to make $20,000 a month in their business and they're making $15,000 a month in their business. But right now they're making nothing. And so the gap between $0 and $15,000 a month is nothing to just be, it's not to be looked over. It's really about how did I do what I did and how do I get going where I'm going? Because once you establish processes and systems to help you, make that $15,000 a month and $20,000, who knows, it could be $84,000 a month. You never know. But that's what we're talking about when we're talking about goals being somewhat of a limiting factor. It's a great aspiration to start with, but always recheck with those goals. And actually your aspirations will kind of follow you as you set some new goals. And so establishing these powerful routines and habits and developing that self-confidence that you're somebody who can actually stick to a habit and a routine is really where the power of all this starts, right? And so thinking about, the idea that if you can navigate setbacks because you're focusing on process, but if you can navigate setbacks with resilience and this consistent belief of where you're going and what you're doing and who's going to be impacted by it, regardless of what's happening externally, that's the secret, right? That's why these processes and systems work so well. And so I'll talk about a couple different studies. There's a bunch of research out there about this because so many people talk about how to set a goal. And I listened to a speaker the other day and she was talking about it takes 63 days to really hardwire habits. Now you hear about 21 days, but she really said it in an elegant way of, 21 days is really just the foundational building blocks. So imagine in your brain, 21 days is about getting the bricks in the wheelbarrow, right? So you have the foundation, you have the things, you're starting to feel confident, but the brain is learning new things during that 21 days. And so the reason why it's so hard to stick to 21 days to establish a habit is oftentimes our brain's uncomfortable and we have to commit to new habits and, make new choices and be disciplined. But really after 63 days, it becomes something to where our brain knows what it is, it knows how to use it, and it loves using it. Okay, so just that's why 75 hard works because it goes past that 63-day barrier and then it becomes less about a habit that you're doing and becomes more about who you are and a lifestyle. And so I'll talk a little bit about some studies here that, again, have really impacted me in my life and kind of why I focus more on my daily activities than I do just my goal. But trust me, I still keep my eye on my goals. And so, Charles Duhigg is really kind of known for this idea of habit loop. And that's something that I've had to incorporate some of these throughout my life, truthfully, not just as a business owner and as a speaker, but really it's this neurological cue, right? This habit loop is about a neurological cue, a pattern, if you will, that creates kind of three different steps, right? There's a cue, then there's a routine, and then there's a reward. And so whenever you recognize that you need to do something, you develop a routine for it, and then you reward yourself along the way. This isn't about second place. This isn't about celebrating success you haven't had. This is about rewiring your brain to enjoy doing the work. That's what this is all about. And so by leveraging this framework, you really kind of start to cultivate positive behaviors that make you want to wake up earlier, that make you want to read the book, that make you feel like you have an opportunity in your life instead of just an obligation. But it also gives you this sense of you're not there yet. As opposed to a lot of times, if you have this scarcity mindset of just focusing on goals, people say you haven't accomplished them. But with this with Charles Duhigg's work around this habit loop, it really kind of gives you that sense of I haven't accomplished the big goal yet, but you've accomplished many things along the way. So another, kind of evidence-based system that I've used my whole life. Some of it because of my attention span, but also just because I love the idea of the brain and how to leverage my brain for what I need it to be doing. But this Pomodoro technique is really it was developed by Francesco Cirillo, it looks like, and so I've been learning more about it as I was getting ready to speak to you all. So. But breaking into this work, it's really about focused intervals. And so separated short breaks, kind of helps maximize productivity and minimizes procrastination. And so I've been doing this, I didn't know it was called this when I was a teenager, but I've been doing this idea of working on a paper or writing a book. I work really hard for 50 minutes, knowing that I get 10 minutes to let my brain kind of unpack and unwind. And then I come back in with 50 more minutes of hard work. And I'll tell you that 50-10 ratio for me has resulted in much better productivity and much better quality of work than just working for 4 straight hours. Now, I know people have different opinions. They have different brains. And so I'm not saying this is a perfect technique for everybody. But if you find yourself dragging and tired and you're not able to think creatively, maybe this Pomodoro technique where you can kind of take some interval breaks will actually help you want to do the work as well, instead of feel like you have to do the work, which is an important piece. And so really it's about understanding the brain's natural rhythm of attention density and understanding that our brains can't be on for 4 straight hours. And so this like kind of ebb and flow, playful, work hard for a little while and take a little break is something I've been using. I used it when I was writing the other books, and I still do it today, where I read for 50 minutes and then I let my brain just kind of play and kind of unwind, or just even relax and just listen in nature, just kind of sit in the sun for a little bit. And then I come back in and then I get to work. But it feels like there's a reward system in that too. But it's just something that's worked for me. And so I wanted to share it with you. And so, really to kind of wrap this up, just the systems piece is what this is all about, because just setting a goal isn't enough. Just wanting it isn't enough. We have to come up with a plan for what happens when something in life changes for us. Or, it's really just how do we create a framework so that we're confident that we can handle anything while still accomplishing the goals we have. But this idea of systems really cultivates this intrinsic motivation, this resilience, and it sets this intentional path of personal growth. And focusing on process more than outcome, you can actually enjoy the process of self-improvement and celebrating victories along the way. And there's a lot of brain science to that as well, where there's a dopamine release when you feel like you're making progress. And, there's a lot of great people all over the world and coaches all over the world. And I talk to my clients about this, but it's about celebrating progress along the way and having that celebration of progress make you more hungry, not complacent. So whether you're striving to advance your career or improve your health or improve your relationship or really any other aspiration that you may have, this applies to anything. And so consider shifting your focus from goals to patterns. Cultivate some of these empowering habits, to develop some effective routines that work for you. Trust in the process, and understanding that success and happiness is not just about the top of the summit. It's about the journey. It's about the people we get to do it with. It's about the people that we get to do it for. It's about the people we love and the people we're the most grateful for, and knowing that it matters to them. They want to see you at your best, but also you being at your best allows you to show up for them in the best way possible too. And so it's about really the climb. It's about the journey. And so my logo for my company, Never Stop, is a mountain. And this is really, it's a really great iconic picture of a mountain. And it's really more about this idea of embracing life and enjoying it along the way. But the most important thing is to never stop. When it's hard, don't stop. When it's easy, definitely don't stop. Make as much progress as you can. And so, it's this cultivating resilience and hope and gratitude for the moment. That is the system that I've created in my life that helps me accomplish every goal I have, including being a better person for the people that I love and that I'm the most grateful for. And so I hope something in this episode resonates with you. As I wrap up this episode, just again, reminding you to go ahead and hit subscribe. More content coming to you every week. Again, there's my newsletter that's coming out every week. And so please sign up, go to my website and sign up for that if you'd like to hear more about a little deeper into this content, but also really any messages that I'm going to be sharing. I want to try to pour into all of you as much as I can and add as much value to you, your life, and the people's lives that you share these things with. And so I appreciate your support. I appreciate encouragement. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you know when these episodes come out. But also go follow me on social media and go to my website, and you can see my Wheel of Life assessment that can help you get started on accomplishing the goals that you have in your life. And so I'll wrap up this episode like I do with every other by reminding you that you always have the power and the choice to reshape your mindset, live with intention, and look at the world through a grateful lens. Until the next episode, never stop.